Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Creative Chaos. I had a friend come to me and ask if I still had any of my 6-inch wire trees left over from trying to sell them. And I said, well, nobody took them, so I got all four. And she asked if I could make her one more. She and her daughters are going to do a girls' day out, and she wanted to take a gift to them. And so I gladly said, of course you can have them. And I will happily make one more because these are my hobby. This is takes me to my happy place. And so I just happen to have these pretty purple beads, and I thought this will make a fantastic tree in a 6-inch hoop. So, and there were plenty of the beads, so that's why. So I started out by taking and cutting up, let's see, I did 36 strands of, let's see, 6 times 4 is 24, so 24-inch lengths of wire. Now I wish that I had gone, because instead of just doing 3, I did 5 of the petals, and so I wish that I had added about 2 inches on. It would have made the root system a little bit easier. So if you're going to make this, always take and multiply the length of the wire times 4 of whatever inch hoop you have. So like mine, it was a 24. Mine was a 6-inch hoop, and so multiply that by 24, or multiply that by 4 is 24. But then if you want to if you're going to do a 5 petal strand, make sure to add another 2 inches onto that. So make them 26 inches instead. And that'll give you a little extra room to spare. So I am taking and I am putting on 3 beads, because these beads are a little bit bigger. They're not seed beads, they're bigger beads. I couldn't tell you what millimeter they are or number they are, because I tossed the package before I looked. That was my bad. So I'm going to the middle and twisting about 3 times. I want these to be a little closer together since we are just doing this on a 6-inch hoop. Then I'm putting another 3 beads on one of the strands and twisting probably 3 to 4 times, and then going to the other side and doing the exact same thing. So we're putting on 3 beads, bringing it up, and twisting 3 to 4 times. Okay, that was a little more than 3 to 4 times. I guess it just depends on how far away from the center you are. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to twist 4 times, and we're going to put on the next set. So 3 beads. I wanted them to be fairly close together because I really wanted this to bunch out at the top. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. So 3 beads, bring them fairly close. You still want enough room to be able to do a couple of twists. And then at the end, I did about 6 full twists, meaning it circled around 360 degrees, not just a little half twist. Now I'm going to show you on one more, and I'm doing this at 2 times the speed. I definitely was not this quick while doing it, so just so you know, this is sped up a little bit, because otherwise the video would be closer to 40 to 50 minutes long, and that's a long time to be watching me twist wire. So I've got my centerpiece on. Now I'm doing one side, and you can do 5 beads if you'd like, but again, make sure that you add wire onto the cut so that it doesn't you don't lose room when it comes time to do the roots, because the roots are tricky and you can wind up with a lot of wire sticking out if you're not careful. Okay. Looks like we got one more. And then the last one. Alright, and then you do the twist of about 6 full twists. And then here we go. Now, I went ahead and did the rest of them off camera. Now we're going to take 3 of our bundles and start off with actually just 2, and we're going to place one part of the wire on each side of the finger and give it about 3 twists, and then we're going to do another 3 twists with that third one, and that just brings it down a little bit, gives it a little bit more fullness, so you can see how that looked. We'll do, I think, another one, and then I speed it up because you don't need to watch me do all of this. Now, usually when I'm doing this, the first one is kind of a half twist. It just kind of locks it into place, and then I do another 2 full twists, meaning that I arrange my hands enough so that I can do a 360-degree twist. And yes, this does get rough on the fingers. I ended up with it, because it's been so long since I've done one of these, I ended up with quite the blister on the side of my hand. Okay, so here we've got these twists. We're just basically going to do the same thing. Now I start arranging these so that they're a little bit easier to take off, because everything was getting so stuck together. It was difficult to get them to pull apart. So we've got our 2 that we just did. Now we're going to put our third one on. Oh, nope, no, yeah. Are we? I don't know where we are in this. Okay, we'll just let this one play out. Okay, that's one put together, and look at how pretty and full it's starting to look. Okay, so we take our 2, we put the wires on both sides of the finger, which you can't see because I went off camera. I apologize. And then we pull our third one on and do the half twist, and then 2 full twists. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And this is going to create 4 bunches. You're going to have 2 that are on one side of the tree and 2 that are on the other side of the tree. And now one more. I was trying to decide which way to have the leaves sitting when I was pausing there. So now we add the third one, and that completes our set. Okay, so now we're going to take 2 of these. I take all this time to separate it, and then I just wind up bunching them up together again because it's difficult to twist it when they're all spread out. But I kind of like to see how it's going to look. And I do the same thing. I do kind of a half twist that pulls it together, and then I try to do 2 as full twists as I can get. By this time, the wire is a lot harder to work with. It's gotten so thick for the trunk that it's just difficult. And then we take and we put these 2 together, and this is the hardest part. This I have to use tools in order to help me really get it where it needs to be, and as thick as it needs to be, and as far down as it needs to be. So I want to make sure that I've got room. I want to make sure that this is why I'm checking it. I want to make sure that I am getting the leaves up where they need to be so that they can hook to the top of the hoop, and then I want to make sure that I've got enough trunk space as well as root space. So I'm spreading everything out and kind of taking a look and seeing where everything is going to land. And then I leave it for the night because my hand is killing me. And we're going to come back to it the next day. So kind of spreading everything out. Just want to see how it's going to look. This is when I take my silicone covered pliers and I really tighten it up. This does an amazing job at tightening it up. Okay, now is where we're going to leave it for the next day. Okay, so now I wish that I had cut my wire a little bit longer for the pieces that I'm going to attach. I would go at least 3 inches to attach it just because it makes it easier to twist. But I didn't, and so I have to use my tools to really tighten it up and get it where it needs to go. So, but anyway, lesson learned. So I'm going to take a piece. I think the piece I take is about 2 inches long, and we're going to flip this upside down, and we're going to look to see where the best place to hook it on the very top is going to be. And this branch just happened to sit perfectly right there. So I thread it through so that it goes through from the top of the hoop down to the bottom of the hoop. And then I begin to twist. I have to use my tools because, like I said, I made it too short so that it was difficult to keep going. And I ended up switching over to my flat nose pliers because those were able to grip it easier. And I'm not worried about these. Okay, so then I just trim it off and then tuck it in so that it doesn't, oh gosh, sorry, I'm distracted. Hang on, guys. Okay, sorry about that. My son just came home from work. So I don't remember what I was just saying. But here we go. Oh, I didn't mind using my flat nose pliers on these simply because you wouldn't be able to tell if it flattened the wire or not. So not a big deal. So I'm taking and twisting again. It's just easy. There we go. See, getting it from that one side and just going all the way around like that helps tighten it up. You want it nice and tight so that it's not going to be flimsy. The wire's not going to... You don't want the wire to be flipping up because it could scratch. If you're putting this in a window, it could scratch your window, and that wouldn't be good because this is a lot of wire. And that was another reason that I should have made the roots a little, or the wires a little bit longer, because the root system had a lot of little flyaways that I tried to tuck in as best as I could, but you can only do so much. So we're getting the third one done, and this will hold everything into place so that it's not going to go all over the place. And it just, you almost don't even have to hook the roots onto the metal just because this holds it so well. The metal, oh my goodness, the hoop. I know how to talk. I know English mostly, sort of. So we flip it back over. We haven't flipped it back over yet. Hang on. There we go. We flip it back over. It stays into place. Now we're going to work on the roots. And this is probably my least favorite thing to do because everything is so tough and so tight and it's big and it's bulky and you've only got so much room to play with. So it's really not my favorite. But I split everything into two. I give it a twist. I should have given it a second twist, but I didn't. And then I take and split this into two again. And I'm only going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I think I end up only doing 6 roots. That's why everything was so thick on that one. I should have split it into two. Okay, things are making sense in my head right now. Because you'll see what I do. You'll see the mistake I make. So I'm twisting this all the way down as far as I can. It gets difficult the further down you go because you don't have as much wire to hold on to. And then I twist, I separate those and twist those. And I want to go all the way to the end because we're going to be taking it and looping it around. So like I said before, I used my silicone wire pliers for this because it grips it so well and really tightens things up. So now we'll do the same thing to the other side. You can kind of see I'm struggling. I'm just, my hands were so tired by this point. But again, I'm just trying to get things to tighten up, to twist, to get them all the way down as far as I can to the ends. You can see them kind of splaying out. Now see, if it had been longer, I could have trimmed it to the shortest of the wires where they kind of cut off. But I didn't do that. I didn't, and I regret doing that, and so I just need to remember that for future wires. Now I've taken and twisted it around one full time and then about halfway up on the back. And now I'm going to, I make the mistake of using these and it kind of splayed the wires out. I don't know if splayed is a word, but it is today. So I ended up taking my flat nose pliers and just trying to tuck those in and up as well as I can, because you want them to not be sticking out the back. You want them to be kind of sticking out the top, coming forward, because they won't scratch, again, they won't scratch your window or your wall in the back. So do the same on this one. This one was a little easier just because it wasn't as full. And then we'll just take and draw it upward, and it feels good. So we'll move on to the next ones. Okay, now I'm going to take and separate these and just do the same thing. So I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to spend the hour watching me that I used to make the, okay, it didn't take an hour, but it felt like it. Tucking it in and then doing the same thing on this last one. And then you think you're done and you're like, oh yay, and then you have to go, oh no, there's a whole other side to this. So then I made the mistake, like I said, I made a mistake of just doing 2 instead of 4. So I split this in half, and then, or as close to half as I can get. And then I started working it downward, and I didn't split it again. And so it wound up being so thick. Oh my goodness, I was struggling. And it didn't even, I didn't even think to myself, hey, split this in half again. Oh no, I just went ahead and kept going. And it was a struggle. So, and then it was too thick. It was so thick trying to get it to go around the hoop. And so I really messed up on that one. But hindsight, you know, looking back on it, I can see what I did wrong. But it still turned out really cool. So we just got this one last one. It wasn't quite as difficult just because it was thinner than the other one, but I still should have split that one in half. and it would have made for a prettier root system as well. But anyways, we take that, we tuck it in, and then I play with it a little bit. Get the root system to kind of have some character. And then just when you think you're done, you're not, because you need to add something to hang it from. So I take 2 split rings. Split rings are different than jump rings. Jump rings are just one circle with the cut in the middle. A split ring is kind of like a key ring that you put your keys onto, where it circles around once and then circles around twice. So they are not easy to maneuver. Holy cow. So I have to use pliers to get them big enough to go around the hoop. And even then it was like, I don't want to go on. And I was like, you're gonna go on. So finally got it on there. And then I have a length of chain. I think I cut it to about 20 links. That's typically where I cut them. And then we're going to attach it. I should have attached the other ring onto it first, because that would have made it easier. But I didn't. Again, hindsight 2020. Unless you're like me and you're blind, even with your glasses on. And then we take and attach this side, and that is basically it. We have done our tree. You can play with the tree trunk a little bit and see if you can get some twists and turns in it, but I don't think I did that with this one. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and that you give it a like. I usually don't ask for likes, but I would really appreciate it this time around. It just would help me grow my channel. So have a great day and make it a great week, you guys. Bye-bye.